Bim, guess what? It's 10 o'clock. It's Sunday, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for What a Week's News That Was, the programme that changes its name practically as often as the Tories change their leaders. Might be even more often, to be fair, this year. Anyway, this is where we look at the news from the week. We take a light-hearted look at what has been going on around the world, as well as what's been going on around the UK, and we have a chat about it. So if you're watching this live, then join in the chat room. If you're not watching this live, don't worry about it. You can still comment in the comments, and if you listen to this as a podcast, thank you very much. You guys are doing great things with the podcast, which is all good in the hood, innit? So shall we start then? Exactly what we mean to do, which is we're going to look at the news from this week as reported in the old what's going on here? There we go. As reported in the basically the British media, of which there's a lot. Anyway, crack on, shall we? So Monday the 28th of October. End of October already, pretty much at this point. Keir Starmer says, accept tax rises in the upcoming budget to stop devastating austerity. He also puts up bus fares 50% to a maximum of £3. At the moment, bus fares are capped at £2, but he's putting up 50%. I mean, that's a hell of an inflation rise, isn't it? Does he not understand inflation works on everything? No, he doesn't understand anything, does he? Tommy Robinson is jailed for 18 months for contempt of court, and Man United sack yet another manager. What happens more? Is it people looking for managers for Man United, or people looking for leaders for the Conservative Party? Which is more? I mean, I'll be honest, no, I don't care either way. So I don't care. You can tell me if you want, but I don't care. Tuesday the 29th of October. And this was a time when the government says minimum wages are going to rise, which is going to help workers, but not small businesses. One of my big arguments, particularly if you own a small business. I mean, I do own a small business, but I don't really have any employees to speak of. Whereas if you've got like a pub or something similar, you do have a lot of people to employ, and that means that national insurance contributions going up mean you have to spend more money. Minimum wage going up means that you have to spend more money. And what that means is if your income doesn't go up, i.e. your restaurants, your leisure centre, your whatever, doesn't take more money to cover these costs, you're going to have to put your prices up, which in fact impacts inflation. But you know. The Southport murderer is charged with terrorism charges on making ricin and having information from Al-Qaeda, i.e. an instruction manual. But the murders that he did of those 3 poor children have not been upgraded to a terrorist incident. Now, a lot of people have asked, including Robert Jenrick, who was one of the Tory party leader contestants, what did the Prime Minister know, and why didn't he tell anyone about this when the riots were going on, because there was a lot of what was quoted as misinformation. Now, whether or not this was a terrorist incident, I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, if I went in somewhere and did something as atrocious as that, I would be causing terror to people, which would make me a terrorist. So why was that not classed as a terrorist action? Anything that terrifies people is a terrorist activity, in my opinion. And then the fact that he's got ricin that he's made with instructions off the internet and Al-Qaeda stuff as well, it does make you worry about what's going on with the British justice system. But anyway, the trial is coming. Israel votes to ban UNRWA from Gaza. Meanwhile, dozens were killed in IDF airstrike. And Keir Starmer says something unusual. He says it's outrageous, which it is, of course. Now, the UNRWA are what Benjamin Netanyahu claimed. They're a charity, but he claims that some of their people were involved in the initial terrorist activity with Hamas on October the 7th last year, and therefore he's saying that he doesn't want them working in Gaza, but there's no one else to fill in the space, although he's given them 3 months to leave. But no, it just seems this guy can do whatever he wants and no one says anything. But Keir Starmer did say something. Is my mind changing on this Labour government? We've got a couple of people in the chat room, so hello to Laney and Wolfie, and hello to Dream Frequency as well. Hope you are both well and enjoying the end of a Sunday, which is always marked this year by this very broadcast, whatever. Wednesday the 30th, it's budget day. More of the budget later on, but biggest tax raising budget in history, and it was on the Halloween's Eve. Was it good or bad? Well, Rishi Sunak says broken promises after broken promises, because basically Labour said before they took over that they were going to spend all this money, but they weren't going to borrow any more money, and they weren't going to put up taxes, and they're borrowing money and they are putting up taxes. But they're not putting up personal taxes, so don't worry. They're only putting up taxes for employers to pay, which means employers will sack people, reduce people's hours, or just have to put the prices up, which will impact inflation. The whole thing is a complete cluster mess. At least 95 dead in Spain after flash floods. They had 1 year's worth of rain, and it rains a lot in Spain. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. They had a 1 year's amount of rain in 8 hours. Still unfolding tragedy. Westminster Magistrates Court sees video link for the murderer of the 3 girls in Southport. Obviously he's remanded in prison until his full trial, which will be at some point in the future. Thursday the 31st of October, Halloween. Devastation in Spain after the flash floods, over 150 dead now, and lots of people missing. Valencia has been hit very heavily, a coastal town. Keir Starmer defends the budget, saying that we need to get money to pay for the NHS. And as Labour, as the Conservatives have pointed out, there's more money going into the NHS now because of the Conservatives than what there ever has been. It's just it's not being spent in the right places. So maybe rather than putting taxes up and getting people putting more money in the NHS, they should have a look at where the money's going in the NHS and maybe have less managers and more nurses, doctors and appointments. Accusations. Russia are targeting civilians in Ukraine by using drones footage, particularly on the BBC, showing people just going around the business and then being bombed from above by drones. Now, the Kremlin are saying that it's not them, but where's this footage come from? And again, pinch of salt, more than a pinch of salt. Is it not, let's make the Russians look bad or whatever? I don't know. You just don't know, do you? I've always said if United States, America or any of the other allies say anything about the Ukraine conflict, what you say is, take it with a pinch of salt. If Ukraine says anything about the conflict, you take it with a pot of salt. If Russia says anything about the conflict, you take it with a truckload of salt. And if China say anything at all, you just take that with a salt mine. That's how my mind works. Biden calls Trump supporters garbage, and he gets himself... and Trump gets himself into a garbage truck with a high-vis vest on. And the big question was, what's more high-vis orange? Is it Trump's face or was it the high-vis vest he was wearing? This was after racist remarks at a Trump rally. I've seen various racist remarks from this Trump rally, including, what's he called? Hulk Hogan, who couldn't even rip his shirt off. He's that old now, which is a shame, isn't it? But anyway, move on. Friday the 1st of November. Now this is the day after Halloween, and Friday the 1st of November every year is the first day of people doing Movember, which is where they don't shave for a month. I don't do it because mine comes out grey now. Not that I did it anyway, to be fair. Dozens are still missing, but over 200 now confirmed dead in Spain. Holly Newborough murderer is jailed for life at least 17 years. Another teenager who stabbed his girlfriend who dumped him to death. so hard he even broke the knife that he was using to stab her. Man United hire a brand new coach. I think it's to take the players to football matches and things like that. Saturday the 2nd, Kemi Badenoch wins the Tory leadership for the Tories. Isn't that great? Whoa, well done, Kemi. Opinions on Kemi: she makes Boris look sensible. Some of the stuff she says makes Boris look sensible, but she might give Keir Starmer a run for his money at the dispatch box in Prime Minister's Questions. Rob, evening all, new here, watched a few weeks ago but didn't comment. Well, welcome to the commenting bit where you get a mention at the end of the day as well. Now 211 dead and more are still missing in Spain even. Why did I write space? 10-year-old tragically killed by dog in North Yorkshire. Teen charged with attempted murder after a 13-year-old girl was found with multiple stab wounds. And what's he called? Russell Brand. The file against him is sent to the cops for sexual misconduct, including rape and murder and all that kind of, rape and sexual activity. Sorry, I was looking there. Have you got a new camera? No, I haven't got a new camera. I've just moved the camera and changed the lighting, so the camera is literally there now, and it used to be up there and about 2 foot away, so it can focus better, which is not what you want really, because this is not a face you want to see in 4K. I don't want to see it in 4K. Mind you, my eyes are that bad. I never see it in 4K anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much. Sunday the 3rd, that's tonight. Spain's king faces angry crowds while visiting the flooded areas, with the shouts in Spanish of murderer. And you think to appease our audiences, they would have shouted it in English. I'm not sure how much power the King of Spain has got to stop the rain, but maybe he's related to King Canute, the guy who, the king who sat on his throne and he ordered the tide not to come in and drowned. Although I think that's a fairy tale, I don't think it was real. Talking of Christianity, no. Kemi says her economic plans completely are opposite to the Labour plans, i.e. she's not going to put taxes up if she was Prime Minister, and she would not borrow more money. But then you're like, well, how do you fix what the problems are? But I do agree, as we will get to later on in the very quick look at the budget, as to what needs to be done to make money, and that's to look after small businesses, which the Labour Party hasn't done this time. And it's the last weekend of campaigning in the American-US elections, and I've never been so fed up with an election. Well, I have actually, every election for a long while now. Going to see the Wild Robot with the voice of Mark Hamill, the bear, tomorrow. Right, I have no idea what that means, but I hope you enjoy yourself. Anyway, that brings us... this is news that makes you go, really? That's a... Oh, it's a film. It's The Wild Robot. Right, I don't do movies. I sell 2,500 DVDs a month, but I don't do movies. I've not seen The Goonies, and I've not seen... what else have I not seen? Well, I've only ever seen one Star Wars movie, Mark Hamill. I've never seen E.T., never seen any of the Spider-Man movies all the way through. Only ever watched one Marvel movie because I wanted to watch Spider-Man, and it was the one where Tom Holland is introduced as Spider-Man, and I vowed never to watch another Marvel movie again, so I didn't even watch the Spider-Man movies that I wanted to watch. I don't do movies. Our film's a big waste of time for you nowadays. They always have been. Like I say, I've not watched E.T. or The Goonies. It's not a recent thing. I've never watched any of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I've never watched any of the Harry Potter movies all the way through. I just don't do movies. Never have. Yeah, I watch a lot of telly, but then when people say, what did you watch last night? I can't remember because it's just crap. But no, I think movies are just something to do to kill time before you die. But I think everything is, to be fair. Anyway, that got a bit dark, didn't it, really quick? But that's not going to stop me. So let's get cracking. Let's get cracking, like. And we'll have a look at the news. It seems you have to rush off films for the sound of it. Yeah, I just don't care about films or film people or anything. I'm having a moving experience. Oh no, it's not. It's the studio that's moving. What's going on there? Why does the studio move there? Earthquake. There we go. Right then. So this is the news, and we will look at the budget as well in this section. I know I've already done the budget, but I don't think many people have watched it, so I will crack through the budget incredibly quickly, because, well, I can. I know, scary, isn't it? But first, let's have some stuff that makes you go, or wow, that is amazing, or whatever. I don't watch television very much, it gets bored nowadays. I watch old game shows and history. I watch, my favourite channel is Yesterday, Secrets of the London Underground, Architecture Railway Bill, and Abandoned Engineering. That's all really on that channel, but that is probably the channel I watch more than any other than the usual stuff. Although I've watched 2 episodes of The Wheel tonight, mainly while I was sorting this out because I was so far behind. I needed something in the background that was just noise, but I didn't have to pay any attention to. Anyway, I know I'm getting old when I say, what you talking about, Willis? And nobody knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that that does make you feel old, and that is definitely one of them. Some perspective on just how big Saturn's hexagonal storm is. No, me neither. But anyway, there's a storm on Saturn that is hexagonal in shape, as you can see from the aforementioned, or the foreseen picture. What they've done is they've superimposed the entire America, USA, on it, the outline, and you can see it just about covers the eye of the storm. Sometimes I watch the late Fred Dimner, as he's not far from you. Yeah, no, I've actually been outside his actual yard where all his steam engines are and everything. It's like a little valley, and it's just the other side of the A66 from Bolton Town Centre. I've not been recently. He was still alive at the time. I didn't knock on the door or anything because I thought that'd been weird. But yeah. Bridge closes for nude photo shoot. More than 5,500 people have stripped bare and braved the city streets this morning, shutting down Brisbane's Story Bridge for US artist Spencer Tunick's latest art exhibition. The photo shoot will act as a centrepiece for Brisbane's Queer Arts and Culture Festival, Melt, as Tunick celebrates 30 years of photographing nude installations. So basically, yeah, this guy's been doing it for a very long while, 30 years it turns out. It gets people to take all the kit off and then pose on various landmarks and stuff around the place. Hi Toff, yes, Different Strokes was definitely the TV show, but we're all of an age where we remember that. Australia's 3G network has shut down. It's been a feature of phone coverage for decades, but today all of Australia's 3G networks will have been switched off, impacting millions of devices across the nation. The shutdown began late last year when Vodafone became the first telco to switch off its 3G network, and the next stages are close to beginning with the Telstra and Optus to shut off by October the 28th. He wouldn't do, I didn't look anything like a burglar. To be fair, it's probably out filming. A surprise driver opens car door to find a sloth hanging from the steering wheel. And yeah, obviously it's not in the UK, it looks like it's South America by the caption underneath. A major review of the COVID-19 pandemic in Australia, and it reveals that Australia was ill-prepared. A bit like England, the UK was ill-prepared. Yeah, but everyone was ill-prepared because we never had one before. This has been my argument from day one. As it happened, it wasn't as serious as what people feared it might have been, or it could have been. But yeah, no one knew what to do. An inquiry into the Australian government's response to the pandemic found that while Australia had one of the best reactions to the outbreak of COVID-19, with relatively low death rates compared to other nations, it was still unprepared for the pandemic. The inquiry outlined several areas that could have been improved, including the slow vaccine rollout, a lack of transparency that eroded public trust, and a financial stimulus that fueled skyrocketing inflation. So yeah, they'll know better for next time. I'll let you get on with the rest of this. Good night. See you, Calderdale. Look after yourself. Have you ever been on one of them roads and you don't know whether, well, it's like a sliding doors moment. Do you go left? Do you go right? Don't ask Dora the Explorer because she can never make her mind up. But yeah, how's about this? We've got a one-way street going to another street, a junction with the double lines, and then you've got an arrow which is painted on the road pointing right, and you've also got the arrow pointing left at the same time, so it's like a kind of going like that, and it says turn underneath it, which is fair enough, and then you can see that rather than burning off the word right, they've just gone over it with the word left, which basically means you've got a complete jumble of letters that make no sense. It looks more like reet. It's absolute abomination. And then you've got two one-way arrows, the blue circles with the white arrows in, pointing left. But then on the other side, on the pavement, you've got a roadworks sign that they have at roadworks saying no left turn. It's basically got a left turn with a red line going through it. I mean, talk about confusion. The only thing that makes me think that you go left here is there's a picture of a taxi. Yeah, flip a coin. There's a picture of a taxi which seems to be facing the way that would work. This is what the Labour government think about people, apparently. Are you a working person? Do you get the bus? Yes, you don't count. No? Do you drive a car? If you say yes, you don't count. If you say no, do you run a small business earning £13,000 a year? If you say yes, you don't count. If you say no, you then get asked, do you own any stocks or shares? At which point you say yes, and you don't count. If you say no, are you a cabinet minister on £160,000 a year? If you say no, then you don't count. If you say yes, it says congratulations, you are a working person. Which I think is whoever comes up with these things. I mean, there's obviously. I mean, I think I'm quite intelligent and whatever, but I could never come up with something like that. I just think it's brilliant. Labour are the party of cuts, says this cartoon. It's one of the old signs that used to have outside shops and things. And two old guys walking past, and one says, "I hate spelling mistakes." Yep. Over 40,000 Bluey coins recovered. New South Wales Police have recovered over 40,000 stolen limited edition Bluey coins during a search warrant in Sydney's west yesterday. 63,000 unreleased limited edition $1 Bluey coins produced by the Australian Mint were reported stolen from a warehouse. Following investigations, a strike force executed a search warrant at a self-storage facility where they located numerous bags containing a total of 40,061 Australian dollars, so about £3.50, in the stolen Bluey coins. Now, they're not pornographic, you'll be sorry to hear. Bluey is the cartoon character that my granddaughter absolutely adores. Or did last year anyway, it's probably different now, I don't know. But yeah, it's a cartoon character, so think Peppa Pig, but it's a blue dog, basically. That's probably about the best description I could come up with. Members going on about the bus fares going up 50%. Not in our ward, says Andy Burnham. Andy Burnham says, we can confirm that we are sticking with the £2 cap for the whole wool of 2025, but subject to a mid-year review. So either, is that a yes or a no? We can confirm we are sticking with the £2 cap for the whole of 2025. So that's a yes, but subject to a mid-term review. So that's a not yes. I mean, just answer the question. Right, budget. I'm going to rattle through this. National insurance. Employers will not pay more directly. Reeves says she will raise employers' national insurance contributions by 1.2 percentage points to 50% from April 25. The government will also reduce the secondary threshold when contributions are due from 9,000 to 5,000. And apparently they'll raise £25 billion a year, which is about 5 trillion, quinteen trillion Australian dollars. Minimum wage. Reeves confirms that the national living wage, the legal minimum for over 21s, will increase by 6.7% to $12.21, equivalent to £1,400 a year for an eligible full-time worker. That money's got to be found by the employer. People will lose their jobs. False economy putting up minimum wage. Not saying we get rid of minimum wage, obviously. Don't want to, people will be working for £2 an hour, you got rid of minimum wage. But don't put it up by so much, it's just ridiculous. The government will implement a levy on vapes, which will be increased in line with tobacco, which I agree with completely. Tobacco taxes 2% above retail price index, and taxes on alcohol will rise in line with the RPI, but Reeves announces a cut in draft duty by 1.7, which is equivalent to a penny off a pint in a pub. It doesn't work if you don't go to a pub, but they're trying to kill pubs by now saying, oh, they've scrapped it, haven't they? You can't vape or do anything outside a pub, because obviously Keir's friends don't use pubs, so why should we have them? Reeves says increasing fuel duty next year would be wrong. She extends the freeze for a year and maintains the last government's 5p cuts. What worries me is she's going to come up with something else, which is obviously already they are going to tax electric cars, which they said they wouldn't do. And the pay for mile thing, or 15-minute cities, which I've talked about many times, is coming, folks. Transport. Reeves commits to the Transpennine route upgrade, which it needs doing, and electrifying the Wigan to Bolton routes. This was taken from The Guardian, not a local paper. She also promised to support east-west rail links between Oxford and Cambridge. That's going to go down well. Those poor people in their boats are going to lose their jobs. Reeves confirms the government will fund tunnelling of HS2 to London Euston, so the actual HS2 from Birmingham now will go all the way into London Euston, whereas under the Tories it was going to stop outside. There will be a £500 million increase in the roads budget to target potholes. I mean, they might as well just put the money in the potholes, because, well, I don't know what I'm up to now. What's that say? Yeah, that's that one. So we're on the right one. Fully talking about Bolton, wasn't it? Reeve announces 3.4 for the Warm Homes plan to upgrade buildings and lower energy bills. That's never going to happen. Government will fund Great British Energy, which is an absolute complete waste of time. There will be a 1.5 increase in real spending on government departments and a 1.7 when including capital spending. In defence, she announced a 2.9 billion increase in military spending next year, as well as funding for Second World War commemorations next year. It's the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, apparently. Air passenger duty will increase by £2 for each economy short-haul flight. Don't think it really matters in the scheme of things. However, private jets will attract an extra 50% air passenger duty, up to £450 per passenger for a flight. And I don't have a problem with that, because as far as I'm concerned, if you can afford a private jet, you can afford £450. Business tax and non-doms, this is the one that got me. The government will introduce permanently lower business rates for retail, hospitality and leisure businesses from 26-27. Until then, they will receive a 40% relief on business rates up to a cap of 110,000. Yeah, 100% agree with all that, although I think they should scrap business rates completely for businesses with less than, say, 200 employees. Employment allowance will be increased from 5,000 to 10,500, reducing national insurance for smaller businesses. So you've got a lot of part-time people, that will take you out of that NI thing, but if you run somewhere like a restaurant or a larger retail shop where your income isn't necessarily going to go up, you're screwed. Taxes on carried interest generally paid by private equity managers will rise from 28 to 32%. Oil profits levy will be increased to 38% and extended. This is on profits made by oil companies, which is over what they would expect because of the fake prices they're charging us for everything. The concept of non-domestic residents will be abolished from April, so non-doms, which was the thing that Rishi Sunak's wife was accused of. Anyway, that was the end of the budget. Mount Fuji is still without snowfall in October, breaking a 130-year-old record. And you're like, what? I thought global warming was a new thing. Apparently not. Now, there are some people I know who are actually in Japan at the minute. I must admit, if I went to see Mount Fuji, I wouldn't climb it obviously, but if I went to see Mount Fuji, I'd be disappointed that I had no snow on it. It's just like a large nipple then, isn't it? Rather than a mountain. Anyway, Japanese Mount Fuji is still without snow in October, making it the longest time the mountain has been bare since records began in 1894. The peaks of Japan's highest mountain typically get a sprinkling of snow by early October, but unusually warm weather has meant no snowfall has been reported so far this year. The previous record of the 26th of October has been seen twice before, in 1955 and 2016. A forecaster at Kufu Local Meteorological Office said in 2023 the snow was first seen on the summit on the 5th of October. So yeah, global warming. Yeah, 1955 and not seen since 1894. So, well, literally not seen. So yeah, piffle. When a rare 400-year-old Japanese bonsai tree was stolen, the bonsai master provided instructions on how the thief could care for the plant so it wouldn't die, as he felt it was like his child. So that is the 400-year-old tree, bonsai tree, that had been stolen, and they didn't want it to die, so rather than asking for it back, they basically give instructions how to care for it. Indian Hills Community Centre asked the question, where did the Terminator find toilet paper? I'll be back. No. Yeah, it's funny, but it's not that funny. Not as funny as this. After years of sinking of Titanic, Jack was found alive in the ocean. And a picture there of Leonardo DiCaprio in the sea. Now, don't you get really fed up when you have, guys or girls coming around doing work in your house and they're only here for like 10 minutes and then they bugger off? Wouldn't you like it if someone actually managed to, do a full shift, or even better still, work round the clock? Someone found a plumber that works round the clock. So basically there's a pipe that comes down and it literally goes round the clock on the wall. See what we did there. Inflation falls back to target for the first time since pandemic, and this is in Australia. They've had massive inflation problems as well, because it's not just the UK. Everyone's up over the pandemic and everything else. Thousands to receive a pay rise as same job, same pay laws come into effect. So this is not minimum wage. This is basically, if you do a job, i.e. if you work for a company and you do the same job as someone else who works for the company, you get the same wage regardless of your sex or whatever, which seems like a good idea, and it seems unusual that wouldn't be a thing, but it still isn't, if you think about it. Same over here. I remember when I worked at Asda for a couple of years, getting on for 20 years ago now, and I worked nights because it was more money than days, but I found out that if I'd worked in the warehouse I would have got even more money than working nights. And they're like, well, you're working for the same company, doing the same hours and pretty much the same job, lugging stuff around. So it didn't seem fair. But anyway, in Australia, they seem to have sorted it. Oh yeah, that's just same thing. Going on about the pay rise. Now, it's been Halloween, and there's all these crappy Halloween costumes that people do that are absolutely abhorrent, terrible, horrible things. And then there are some that are absolutely ingenious. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know who the guy this kid is meant to be is, but this is still the best thing I've seen on the internet. It's the Leeds United manager, isn't it? Throwback to the ultimate Halloween effort by this young Leeds United fan. It's basically dressed up as a manager with the glasses, and they've even put lines on his forehead in makeup, so he looks all... One of my favourite presenters on TV is Philomena Kunk, Diane Morgan's alter ego. And I would like to say that I inspired the character because I was doing my walk round videos before Philomena Kunk got her TV shows. But I've got to admit, some of the stuff that she comes out with is amazing. For example, if it wasn't for the suffragettes, I wouldn't be standing here now. I'd be in the kitchen where I belong. Yes, my humour exactly, deadpan. More of Philomena shortly. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman pictured here smiling on the set of Eyes Wide Shut. And there's a picture there of Robbie of EastEnders with bra 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 bra. And this is Britain, it's not Britain, is it? But the ginger one from when it first, well, pretty much when it first started. Well, okay, about the 1990s. Stood there, and yeah, sorry, just made me laugh anyway. Probably won't make you laugh, but it made me laugh. Another thing that I often refer to people is Mrs. Merton from the late Caroline and Hearn. She was a woman who wrote and starred in The Royal Family, and also was in and first shot to fame in The Fast Show. She had a TV show for a while with her alter ego Mrs. Merton, who basically got guests on the show and then ripped into them, took the absolute mickey out of them. And a good example here would be this. So what first attracted you to the multimillionaire Paul Daniels? Asking Paul Daniels' then wife, now widow. But yeah, deadpan, but really, really funny. If you don't feel old yet, here's your childhood behind glass in a museum. And we've got a Atari 2600, I think. No, it's not. Oh, it's not Atari 2600. We've definitely got a Dreamcast, got a Saturn. We've got a American Super Nintendo. I live near where Caroline lived. Alright, okay. Original Master System. There's an Atari 2600 at the other end. You've got a Nintendo 64, you've got a Mega Drive, which I would imagine is a Genesis in this case, and various other consoles as well. That looks like a PC Engine or Turbo Graphics to the left on the bottom shelf. But yeah, your childhood is now in a museum, folks. The scary thing for me is, wasn't even my childhood, I was already grown up when they come out. The need for bigger vessels led to the invention of the Titan 1C, says Philomena Kunk, and it was the world's first single-use submarine. I've seen the clip of this in, and the way she delivers it is superb. I used to call the Titanic, which is obviously what she's referring to, as the Titanic, as in Titanic. But now I do refer to it as the Titan 1C. In fact, if you look at the stickers on the DVD of Titanic, when I get it in Leonardo DiCaprio, I stick it on there, and I write on the label the name of the DVD, like I do with all DVDs, and I write Titan 1C. I don't think anyone's ever noticed, but it amuses me no end. Just as it does when I write Mavity on the film Gravity. That amuses me no end as well. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? I'm easily pleased, what can I say? Here's one for Toff. The Magic Roundabout in Swindon, England is a ring junction constructed in 1972. And literally, it's got 5 mini roundabouts around the roundabout. And I've driven round it. So I've driven round all of it, to be fair. I've driven around the whole thing, and I even went up when I think I came on this entrance here, and I drove up to the one with the dead end on it, and then I did a U-E, and then I drove all the way around back to the town centre again, and then I think I drove back around again, and I even stood in the middle of it and filmed people driving around me. It is just bonkers. Now that picture that you can see is not what it's like normally. That is, they did a thing where a load of drivers just went to park on it and have a meeting about the thing, so they closed the roads off and everything. But it's hilarious. Don't worry, Angela. I hope you're okay. But yeah, driving around it is quite freaky. I mean, I've driven around lots of places in my life, but never that one. Urban Blonde. Where's Urban Blonde? Oh yeah. Oh no, I've already spoke to Urban Blonde. It's alright. I'm going to say she asked about the new camera. No, it's just new camera angle. New speed cameras are much more effective. Drivers are slowing down to 10 miles an hour. And there's a picture there of a load of young ladies mooning the traffic coming in the opposite direction. Global warming is a thing. I feel like I've misled you before saying it wasn't. Because you can tell by this graph. Evidence of global warming. In the 1900s, women had bloomers. 1940s, they had old ladies' knickers. 1980s, they had slightly tighter, smaller pants. In 2000s, they had basically knickers. And in 2020, all the women are wearing thongs. Or not, as the case may be. Global warming does exist. Now again, you don't want to feel old, but let's do it anyway. When it was time to watch a movie in school, and we had a trolley with a massive TV on it, and we had the VHS underneath, and it'd be wheeled into your class, and you'd be like, yay, we don't have to do any work, we just sit and watch some boring thing. I think I'm pretty sure I watched one of the space shuttle launches, to be fair, or one of the tests for a space shuttle, or it might have been, when did the space shuttle first take off? Of course, the only difference is it wasn't them two pushing the trolley around in our school, or yeah, any other school for that matter. Ghosts are dying out because they only exist for 100 years, says paranormal experts. Paranormal expert Brian Sterling-Veet believes that ghosts have a limited lifespan, just like humans, meaning most ghosts looking around nowadays are less than 100 years old. Well, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my life, because most ghosts that are seen, and obviously ghosts don't exist, are in medieval mansions, or monks, or ladies from like 500 years ago, or stuff like that. So yeah, this expert is talking out of his sheet that he's covering himself with, just to clarify. Talking of sheets, Shroud of Turin does not show face of Jesus. He never touched it, said a study. Experts say there is no way the image left on the fabric could have come from a human body after scientific study used virtual fabric to carry out tests. Yeah, well, that's because Jesus never existed for a start, and secondly, I don't think a stain would work that clearly, because even if you did put it on someone's face, it wouldn't do the whole face, because you'd have to push it into all the bits around your nose and everything, and if you did that, you get creases, so when you opened it up, the face will be distorted. So yeah. Have we got any Lucasade? Don't know. Draft booze set for a tax break, but cigarettes and vapes are hiked. Apparently this was predicting the budget. High risk of US election interference, like in 2020, as Putin sends warning. Just like in 2020, there is an extremely high chance of election interference, according to expert Professor Anthony Glees, who told the Daily Star, Putin sees his chance. Who does he want in, though? I mean, does he want a madman, or does he want a mad woman? I mean, you know. Boffins create contraceptive device that heats men's testicles to paralyse sperm. What? Alternative contraception pioneers have created the terrifying new birth control device, which involves clamping testes and frying sperm. But don't worry, it's reversible. I'm sorry, I'm not having an electric heating device around my knicker-knacky news. No. Mind you, I don't have any lady friends or any friends at the minute, so that's irrelevant anyway. Talking of a load of Call of Duty's Black Ops 6 is dubbed a disaster in every way, and reviews of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 have started appearing online, with Google's overall fan-led review giving it an average of 2.8 out of 5, with one-star reviews dominating the coverage. What, the warming your testes up? I won't try that. No, imagine you do it wrong, it'd fall off. Oof. Wetherspoons, Marks and Spencer's home base, and more major high street names to shut stores. A number of major UK retailers will be closing stores in November, with likes of Marks and Spencer, House of Fraser, Home Base, Co-op all preparing to shut branches. Now, I'm making a prediction here. I've not said this on Wigan Watch, but we've got a date on this, 3rd of the 11th, 2024, and I'm saying that Boots in the Grand Arcade and Sports Direct in the Grand Arcade may well not be open by this time next year. Why do I say Boots? Because their fridges broke getting them for a month ago, where they do their meal deals from, and they've not repaired them or replaced them. And they've got one in Robin Park, which is doing a lot better than the one in Wigan Town Centre. So I think that could close. I don't know anyone, I've not spoke to anyone about it, I've just say I've been thinking about it for a while, this is what I'm saying. And then Sports Direct is doing very badly in the Wigan shopping centre in the Grand Arcade for some reason, and they've got one again at Robin Park, which is probably cheaper to run, so that might go as well, because House of Fraser may end up being in the same way as all the shops it's bought out. We can live in hope, can't we? Anyway, those are my predictions on the 3rd of November 2024. Nothing, I'm just making that up. I mean, it might not happen, probably won't happen, to be fair. Serial killer outfits replace Halloween costumes as parents splash out. Gone are the days of cheap white bed sheets or black bin liners. Instead, parents are splashing out on elaborate Halloween costumes for the kids. Apparently the most freaky one was Jimmy Savile. Yeah, I know. Killer robots will take over the world and eat us all, says expert rapper Ice-T. The future isn't looking bright, according to rapper Ice-T, who has shared his fears that we won't be able to stop technology coming to eat us as it gets more advanced. Now, what does rapper Ice-T know about anything? He's probably friends with P. Diddy and the other nonce as well. Or, more importantly, why would robots need to eat us? It makes no sense, because robots don't have digestive systems or anything. They have batteries and independent power units and stuff, so they wouldn't eat us. The whole thing is absolute nonsense. However, really cool picture. That's the reason why I chose it, actually. I thought the picture was quite cool. Man 63 arrested over theft of £300,000 worth of cheese from a luxury dairy shop. A 63-year-old cheese thief has been arrested for stealing the premium's products, say police, after reports of successful theft by posing as a major French retailer. So they didn't break in, they actually legitimately filled the van up with the people there and then drove off with it. Drunk as a skunk takes on new meaning as study shows animals love to booze too. Brits aren't the only booze-chugging beast, as research indicates there are plenty of animals that have a thirst for alcohol, and one species also has a regretful, drunken one-night stand, and that's not just humans. The one thing that I do remember being drunk was a bird. It was a wood pigeon. I think I've said this before, but you may not have heard it. And I was driving a van down the M6 back towards Wigan from, it'd be around about Chorley area. And I was doing 70 mile an hour, and I was in lane 3. 4 lanes, I was in lane 3. So it's where the M55, that bit between the M55 and the M61. So I'm driving along there, and I see this bird coming from the other side of the motorway. And this would be about autumnish, early autumn. And it's flying, instead of flying like that, like birds normally do, it's flying like that. And I thought, that bird's going to hit me. And I couldn't do anything, because I was in traffic, I was doing 70, there was a car on either side of me, there was cars behind me, I couldn't do anything, so I just kept going. Next thing, I hear this massive thud. Now the van had ladders on it, and I looked in my rear view. It didn't affect the van, thankfully it didn't hit the window screen, didn't affect the van, but I looked in the rear view mirror and it was something out of a movie. Behind me it was all white, just feathers everywhere, tiny little feathers, because birds have more than the feathers you see on the outside, they have lots of little feathers. It was like a snowstorm, and the cars were driving through this, and it was creating swirls of feathers. It was an amazing thing. It was only for like a couple of seconds, but wow. I thought, well, that bird's a goner, isn't it? Anyway, I didn't stop or anything, I just carried on. I got near home and I pulled up on a bit of wasteland that just built some houses on, near the co-op, not co-op, Spar, and I got out of the van and I noticed this big line of blood down the side of the van, and I thought, definitely didn't survive. I look on top of the van and the bird's body is wedged underneath the ladder and the ladder roof rack thing. So I got a stick and poked it off and put it on the floor and then pushed it in some bees, but there was no head on it. Didn't think anything of it, but thought, well, at least it was quick for it. And it wasn't blood, it was seeds and red berries that were also, it was alcoholic berries that it had eaten. Anyway, I drove home, parked up, went to work the following day, was loading the van up, and I noticed the bird's head and neck were hanging from a piece of tape. I'm like, oh, okay then. Yeah, very unpleasant, but one of them things that you don't forget, more so because of what happened behind me when I looked in the rearview mirror was, this. It was something like out of a movie. It was really, really strange, really, really peculiar. And what the cars behind must have thought, because they're driving along, and there's this bird that they may have noticed, and then all of a sudden from nowhere, it's just whiteout in front of them. Absolute whiteout. And yeah, I'd hit this bird. Talking of birds hold grudges longer than humans, as boffins find proof of revenge crows. Oh shit. I hope its family don't remember. Foreign Office named 68 countries issued do not travel warnings. Nothing to do with the crows, by the way. But they'd be hard pressed to hold a grudge longer than I do. I'm one of these people. If you me over, we're done. If you do one thing, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You do two, we are done. You, as far as I'm concerned, you no longer exist. Bit childish, but it's a lot less stress for me than rather worrying what some lies people are coming up with next time, kind of thing. So yeah, if you do me over twice, that's it. We're done. You are dead to me. Meanwhile, ocean full of aliens could be hiding in space as water discovered off Uranus. Well, that's splashback, isn't it? You get that occasionally. Oh, the planet. Oh, sorry. An ocean up to 60 miles deep has been discovered under the surface of Miranda. The actress comedy person. One of the moons floating around Uranus. I thought they were Klingons. 1.7 billion miles from Earth, so they ain't coming around anytime soon. That's the main news. Which brings us to the end of the news and everything. And I'm not doing breaking news for a very valid reason, because if I do breaking news, I will see things that I don't want to see. Not in a rude way, just results and things like that. So I'll give a big shout out to everyone. So Lainey, Dream Frequency, Rob, welcome. Hope you're still with us. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Urban Blondes, Calderdale, Top Cat, Toff, Angela, Dream Frequency. I think that's it. No doubt there's a comment in the comment section regarding what I was talking about earlier with the Swindon roundabout. And yeah, that is it. We've had 34 views overall, only 2 likes. We've got 5 people at the minute, average is 8.7. We've had double figure views a couple of times. So I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. And I'll be seeing you soon. I hope you like the new camera angle, by the way. I'm not keen on it. And I will see you all again next time. Why has that done that? So yeah, I'll be seeing you. I am and I have, thank you. Okay, brilliant. You take care. Thanks for watching, and next time I do this, it'll be after my birthday. Oh, old person. Very old person. One of them landmark birthdays you don't want. Anyway, thanks for watching. Well, you do want, because at least you made it. Take care, look after yourselves. Until next time. Bye!